Welcome to the AirNetwork.net and another edition of Monday Night Sports Talk. Glad to have you along. If you like to talk sports, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call tonight. 814-619-4286 is our number. Again, that's 814-619-4286. It's the AirNetwork.net's Monday Night Sports Talk. Live from Johnstown, it's Jimmy Ty. Live from Huntington, PA, Jeff Speck. And we're awaiting the arrival of, well, he's always kind of like Johnny-come-lately, our good friend Dave Shannon live this evening from Altoona, Pennsylvania. So, guys, you have a great weekend. I know in talking with you off the air, Jeff, you had a great weekend, which we'll talk a little bit about that Little League opener you had on Saturday, huh?
Yeah, Super Day. Of course, as you well know, the tradition in Huntington, that parade down Washington Street to the field, and people line the street and then just follow the boys on down, the boys in the fire trucks. Well, I should say boys and girls these days. Excuse me.
That's right.
I stand corrected. And then in for some opening ceremonies and just beautiful weather-wise and a huge turnout. We did a little honoring a young man, Colin James Broombaugh, who passed away on March 4th at age 9, suffered a brain aneurysm, and his parents were there and throughout the ceremonial first pitch along with his brother Gage, and a lot of people were there to support them. And as you looked around, it was a sea of white T-shirts which had been sold that were said, "Our Angel in the Outfield, Colin." So we've dedicated the whole season here in Huntington for Huntington Little League to in memory of Colin Broombaugh, and great day and a great family. As I said, you look for words. How do you
describe it?
Yeah, and I was up till about 2 o'clock on Saturday morning putting that script together to make sure that it was as right as I could get that one, and I think it went off well. And the family, I'll tell you what, special people, because what words can you say? And thank God most of us never have to go through the loss that they suffered. But
it was heartfelt, and they had a lot of people around them to give them a supportive hug on Saturday, right?
Well, yeah, and I think we try to comfort them, but I think in the long run they're comforting us because the father is stuck around. He's going to continue he's coaching in the Little League. They were there all day Saturday, and then over at the Huntington Teener League, which opened up their season yesterday with a couple of games, and they were over there, and I mean, just a great family, and I mean, they're comforting the community probably as much, if not more, than anything we said or did for them.
Well, that's because they know where their little angel is these days, and that brings a lot of comfort. Sure. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was a special kid. I mean, he had told his mother on the way home from church here not long ago that he was going to have a mansion of gold in heaven with God, and wow.
Yeah, and it's true now. It's true for him. Well, I know Jimmy's probably been outside in this great weather, at least shooting some hoops, Jimmy. You been outside at all? Or I know other than just yard work, though, Jim.
Yeah, I've been shooting hoops outside in the driveway, playing catch, playing some little baseball. So it's been nice around here in Johnstown. Lucky not to see any rain or snow the past few days. So,
well, I imagine if you had 75 today in Johnstown, probably Jeff and those guys in Huntington had at least 80, if not higher. What kind of temps, man?
Well, one thermometer, one passed on the bank. If it's reliable, it said 79 degrees at about 1:30 this afternoon.
That's what I'm thinking, probably closer to 80. Hey, speaking of a lovely opening day on Saturday, how about the opening day at PNC Park today, where the Pirates win their home opener 5-4 against the Tigers? I want to start with you, Jeff, and then we'll talk to Jimmy a little bit. What was most impressive today? Was it Cole's pitching, Harrison's homer, or Corey Hart's homer? I mean, what was impressive about the game?
What I liked most about it, and what we're going to see from the Pirates is, and this one may be from left field, reliever Jared Hughes. I think we're already seeing that Jared Hughes, when they're in a situation, Jared Hughes, I mean, he came in there and bailed out Cole, and things were looking pretty rough there whenever Hughes stepped up, but didn't take too many pitches for him to get things under control and take care of the game whenever he got in there. So I would say I'm not going with any of the other guys. Yeah, Cole did a great job, but Jared Hughes is becoming the go-to guy when there's trouble needs quelled.
Jimmy, what was most impressive to you? I mean, just the opening crowd, which I believe was close to 40,000. But was that homer by Harrison? I mean, basically his first at-bat at home this year.
That was pretty special just to bring the home crowd up and say, Josh Harrison just signed that extension in Cincinnati a few days ago. So just to show, hey, I'm a Bucko for life. But what I'm impressed with, yes, I'm impressed with Jared Hughes, but I'm also impressed with Corey Hart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Corey Hart. He last night in Milwaukee, when he played Milwaukee, what happens? He gets a base hit. Every time he gets up the bat, this guy gets a base hit.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know why Hurdle's not playing him only in pin hit situations.
Now, am I to understand
he should be playing more?
Am I to understand he hit his 1,000th hit today, or what was that?
His 1,000 hit was a home run.
Okay.
His 1,000 hit in the major leagues was a home run in front of the home crowd in PNC Park. What a way to bring in your career in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no doubt about it. The AirNetwork.net, of course, Monday Night Sports Talk. Got Jeff Speck in Huntington, Jimmy Tide, by the way, in Johnstown, and Greg Banks in the studio, talking about the opening game at home at PNC Park for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which we have a lot of hopes for these guys. One of the things Jimmy and I were talking about off air, Jeff, just briefly before the show started, was one of the disturbing things to me was when we got into the ninth that Melanson couldn't shut him down like he did last year. It seemed like he tried to overpower people with his pitches, and obviously he rode some right down the middle, and they rode right out of the park. What do you think about his performance today?
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit suspect, to say the least. I mean, the Detroit Tigers, you don't need to give them any juice to be helping them to get the ball lifted out of the ballpark, and that
no doubt
seems to be what he was doing today. But they survived, they get the win, so maybe all isn't forgotten in the clubhouse. But for the fans, we'll take it. But that wasn't the most stellar performance you would expect from Melanson coming in there in the ninth.
Jimmy, do you think that might be attributed to like maybe opening day jitters? Because it is the first time he's been at home again. All the guys first time at home, and he just couldn't work out the wrinkles. Because let's face it, we bring the guy in to save the game, usually an inning or two. Do you think maybe he was still kind of nervous?
No, he's been in that situation before opening day, so no, I don't think of his nerves. I just think that when they brought Melanson in, Pittsburgh had to go through the meat of the order.
The lineup, yeah, they did.
You had Ian Kinsler, you had Cabrera, and then you had who was the other guy? They had to go through the meat of the order. And I think once he got through that meat of the order, it was 1, 2, 3 out. You're gone.
Well, let's face it, though.
Over.
Detroit came into the game with a record of 6-0, one of the best records in baseball today. And
undefeated.
So, they were undefeated. So, and I think there were only 2 teams in Major League Baseball that had still been undefeated after 6 or 7 games. So, having said that, don't you think, that's a feather in the cap of the Buccos to open up their season at home, Jeff, against Detroit and to make a statement? Don't you share the same idea?
I mean, 2 years in a row now we open up with a win at home. That's great. Here we were today, since PNC Park opened 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was the largest crowd in regular season for PNC Park since it's opened 14 years ago. So, boy, does that tell a tale in what the expectations, and you've got people excited about baseball in Pittsburgh again, and boy, that had to be a great atmosphere with the sun beaming down and sold out and biggest crowd ever. That's just tremendous for a organization that just a couple of years ago was pretty much the joke of professional sports, just not baseball.
Yeah, they were the bottom of the barrel, and they weren't getting any national attention at all, which you never saw them on ESPN. Jimmy, one of the things I did note today was Polanco, his running today. He was running home and got pegged out. Other than that, are you satisfied with Polanco? I mean, some of his performance thus far this season?
No, he's supposed to be like they're making him as the next Roberto Clemente in Pittsburgh.
I don't know if they're going that far.
The next guy.
The
next big thing against. He's the next McCutchen.
Okay.
Let's put it like that. Okay.
Right.
But his performance isn't doing well. Put Adam Lambeau in there.
You think?
Let's see how Adam Lambeau's performing. Give Polanco a rest. He doesn't do good at the plate. He has too many errors in the field. He had one nice catch I saw.
Yeah.
Against the fence, but other than that, he can't field too well. he swings that crazy pitches. No, I don't like his performance at all.
Hey, if you guys want to get involved in the conversation here on Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net, give us a buzz, 814-619-4286, 814-619-4286. Greg Banks in the studio, Jimmy Ty live from Johnstown, Jeff Speck in Huntington tonight. One of the things that came across the news wires, obviously, while we've been off, and we've been discussing this probably for months, ad nauseum, that we knew that Troy was either going to resign or be asked to go. Yeah. Now, that has been out there since probably December. The fact of the matter, he has announced his retirement. That was a big talk in the NFL last week. Let me ask Jimmy first. Do you think the Steelers have the muscle now, Jimmy, to replace him, or are they going to be looking to the upcoming draft to replace Troy Polamalu? Jimmy first, then Jeff.
If they replace him, it's going to be Shamarko Thomas.
Okay.
The third-year back, the third-year corner out of Syracuse. But I think it's good that Troy retired. But if not, they're going to probably go into the draft and try to get Landon Collins, the safety out of Alabama, who's an All-American.
You think so? Okay. That would be kind of cool to have a guy from the SEC. Jeff, what's your thoughts on that?
Boy, that is an excellent one there, Jimmy. That would be nice. And let's face it, you don't replace a Troy Polamalu.
Oh no!
You try to find someone who's going to adequately fill the job and hopefully play up to 75% of his ability at some day. And but boy, what an honor it's been to be a Steeler fan the last 12 years, and for the majority of that, even in the last few years when. It wasn't the Troy
the same old Troy.
Exactly. Yeah, but I'll tell you, I would take Troy Polamalu at a step or two off over the majority of people that filled that position in the rest of the league, and it's just been what a show, and I hope everyone enjoyed it and appreciated it because. Hall of Fame, here you come. When's he available to go into? Well, that would be 20.
It'd be 5 years from now, 2020.
Yeah, 5 years from now.
2020.
Yeah. So, hey, I was reading an article today about, Troy and, of course, how he ranks up there. And obviously, there's been none better in the last probably decade, maybe 2 decades, if you really think about it. Art Rooney II, president of the Steelers, gave him probably the utmost respect when he said, there's just not going to be another person that we're ever going to hire in this organization who will play with the reckless abandon and leave everything on the field. And that's one thing that Troy did. And so when you look at Troy Polamalu, Jimmy, and we've just said that he's going into the Hall of Fame, he does rank up there with John Stallworth, Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, Joe Green, Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw, and the list goes on and on. But now Troy can add his name. Correct, Jimmy?
Oh, definitely. Troy Polamalu is one of the best defensive players to ever play in the Steelers. He's like the Mel Blount of the 70s.
Oh, Rod Woodson. Yeah.
Rod Woodson's of the 80s. Now you have the Troy Polomalus of the 90s, 2000s. Who's going to take his place?
Yeah, you had mentioned.
That's what I want to see. And I really think that if the Steelers get a chance to take Landon Collins out of Alabama,
okay,
I really see that because Landon Collins is the same type of player as Troy Polamalu. He'll fly all over the field. He's not afraid to get his head dirty, his hands dirty.
Uh-huh.
He can pick off the passes. Towards the end of the year, Troy was injured a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the age, and that's from the way he played football.
And that was last year as well as 2014. Yeah. So, Jeff, your thoughts on what Rooney had to say and some of the greats that the Steelers have had now in the Hall of Fame. Troy ranks right up there, correct?
Oh, yeah, and without it. But, hey, let's not forget, this is I've heard some people describing this has been the golden age of safeties. I mean, Polamalu, Brian Dawkins, Reed, Ed Reed. I mean, what a group of guys. Now, I'm just wondering, look at what Arizona did last year and had pretty good success with it. Some of these new guys that are kind of doubling as inside linebackers, that's what Arizona did last year with
right.
Pretty good success with that safety working as a kind of part-timing as an inside linebacker. So, maybe we're going to see that role shifting a little bit, and maybe these guys gain into more of that kind of role also, the new crop coming up through.
Well, Jimmy had mentioned Collins from the SEC, and I've got to think, though, he'll be a project because there's got to be somebody on that Steelers squad And obviously, we saw them last year where they replaced Troy in many instances and had some of the younger guys out on the field. Out of all the younger guys that they used, Jimmy first and then Jeff, who do you think they will use? Because we know it's going to be, if they do pick Collins, it's going to be about a year out before he plays.
I would say it's Marco Thomas. He's probably the best fit right now for them.
Right.
Yeah, and that seems to be the standard going answer here at the moment, and and that's it seems to be putting a lot of eggs in that basket.
Well, let's keep it in the NFL here for a second because there's not much more I can say about the Steelers. The draft is coming up, I think, in 2 weeks now. But one thing I did note was on Friday, I think it was Ron Jaworski, formerly of the Eagles and, of course, of ESPN, mentioned the fact that he's reporting that Tampa Bay now is looking to select Mariota over James Winston, in the draft. And I'm wondering, why would they consider such a move after we've heard all these other reports, Jeff, starting with you and then Jimmy?
Boy, that's
you think it's a personal thing?
You hit me with one there that I hadn't heard that one, but boy, you're talking making him first overall. You really hit me with that one. I'm not and
Jaworski's,
sure though, because
Jaworski was pretty firm in his report that he had gotten information from the inside in the Tampa Bay organization that they were going to look at Mariota as opposed to Winston, and I thought that was kind of weird, but I'm thinking if anybody knows, it would be Ron Jaworski. Would you think that's something that's happening?
Well, all the signals that were coming out of Tampa Bay, I guess, because it just seemed like wasn't going to be any major surprise that Florida State Jameis Winston was going to be the man. So that one, wow.
Jimmy,
if Jaws is saying it,
you got to believe it. Maybe there's some validity. Jimmy, do you think that would be a good move on behalf of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And then what happens to Winston? Where does he go then?
Well, reports that I heard that the New York Jets went down to Florida State to scout Jameis Winston.
That's what I heard, too. Yeah.
So if he does not go number one to Tampa Bay, just look at him going to the New York Jets.
Well, the Jets would have to trade down to get him.
Yeah, they would have to trade down, and one of the teams they're looking at the trading down with is Jacksonville at number 3.
Okay. And there were reports that Mike Vick is moving on to another location this season anyhow.
Yeah, but the thing about Jameis Winston is, look at his career in college. He was an excellent football player.
Baseball.
When he played football. He won. He was a winner in college, had one loss.
Right.
Look at what he did off the field.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Look at what he did off the field, and maybe that's why Tampa Bay is a little bit hesitant, because they don't have a quarterback right now in Tampa Bay. Whoever they take is going to be like Andrew Luck with Indianapolis.
He'll be the face of their franchise.
He'll be the face of their franchise.
Yeah. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, Jeff. Maybe they're thinking, you know what? This guy's going to be the face of our franchise. Well, really, when you weigh between the two of them, you really can't lose.
Well, and and all I can figure is you're pretty much sending a signal out there that either you're going for it now or you're going to let something develop, because I don't think Winston, and it might sound silly saying this, but I don't think Winston is quite the athlete that Mariota is, but I would think Winston would have a better chance of stepping in and being an NFL-ready quarterback a lot sooner, just with the skills and playing in that pro offense, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah, here's another report that came down earlier today. Johnny Manziel has now been released from rehab. What is Cleveland going to do with Johnny Manziel this year, Jimmy, if they do anything at all with him?
Well, I know one thing: the Browns players don't like Johnny football.
Okay, well, we know that.
He lost all the trust in the locker room because of his off-field behavior, and he can't play football that well.
Right. So does he end up in the CFL, or where's he go?
He'll stay with the Browns. He'll stay with the Browns for another year or two. He'll try to compete as the quarterback, but I think his time in Cleveland is very, very short. He's on a short leash in Cleveland.
Well, you know who he reminds me of, Jeff? Remember Jimmy Clausen? When he came out of high school to announce that he was going to play for Notre Dame, and he was riding in that limousine, and he was rather cocky, and I could see where teammates really didn't want to play with this guy. Do you think that's the same situation here?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think you get one chance to make that first impression, and boy, he made a lot of bad first impressions. I think with his time there, and if you're in it to win it and you're there to try to, I'm sure they've got their good times and they have their good times, but there comes a point when you've got to step up, man up, and he blew it. He just blew it.
Well, maturity always seemed to be a factor with Jimmy Clausen and now with Johnny Manziel. And I might add that Jimmy Clausen's still in the league. He's still with Chicago as a backup quarterback. Yeah. He may emerge as the starting quarterback this year, because they're going to open it up.
But look at Cleveland's starting quarterback. They got Josh McCown from Tampa Bay.
Right.
Josh McCown from Tampa Bay. He had, 2 good years in the league, maybe 1 good year as a backup in Chicago before Jimmy Clausen came.
Yeah, okay.
And now it's now he's going to be Cleveland's starter. Mm-hmm. Is that who Cleveland really wants as their starter? Or they put all this pressure on Manziel? Do you think it's too much pressure for Johnny Football?
Well, that's true, too. It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. We're live on the air. By the way, you can call us right now at 814-619-4286. 814-619-4286. Jeff Speck in Huntington. We've got Jimmy Ty live in Johnstown. Let me throw this out since we're on the subject of football. Urban Meyer gets another $6 million in his contract, I believe, today. What do you do when you've got 3 premier quarterbacks? Somebody's got to go, Jeff. And what's going to happen in that quarterback situation for Ohio State this year?
Boy, that's a good one, and I'll tell you what an envious position to be in. You imagine how many many college football coaches would love to have that problem.
Wouldn't it be like the same problem with Coach Cal? Like if everybody decided to stay at Kentucky next year, which we know they won't. But I mean, if they all decide to stay, who plays and who has to sit the bench?
That's done. That should make for a. If it's a wide open competition to see who's going to do it, that should make it interesting. If I can't imagine the coach doesn't have might have some mind made up of who's probably going to get that starting nod at this point, even if he's keeping that under covers at the moment.
Well, I understand they've gone through their spring practices, Jimmy. So what do you do? Who do you name? And when do you name your lead quarterback? Or will he use dual quarterbacks this year like some teams have done?
I don't think he'll use dual quarterbacks. I think what he'll do is, who's the hottest quarterback?
Yeah, okay.
Who's the hottest quarterback? Is Braxton Miller going to be the hottest quarterback for them 2 weeks? And then once he cools down, JT Barrett will get his turn, or Cardell Jones will get his turn. I think it's who's going to be the hottest quarterback each week at practice.
Well, does Braxton leave this year? I mean, does he look for another slot? Because I heard that perhaps he might even go down to... Of course, he may have to sit out if he were to go to Florida State or somewhere, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have to sit out to go to Florida State, but I don't think he would leave.
Okay, because I just have this feeling, and he's not draft bait. He's obviously couldn't go into the draft. And, after 1 or 2 performances where the quarterback led them to the national championship, everybody's thinking maybe he might leave Ohio State. And I think that'd be a bad move because it's too early in the game yet. Don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt,
he couldn't declare.
There's a lot of time. No, I wouldn't think so.
All right, just wondering because, man, that like you said, that's a hell of a position to be put in when you're the coach of a team like Ohio State. But he'll have to deal with it. I'm sure he will. Hey, coming up, we'll talk a little bit about all the Masters this weekend. Also, the Penguins. What's going to happen with them in this upcoming playoff game? It's all coming up on Monday Night Sports Talk. Jeff Speck live from Huntington, Jimmy Ty, Johnstown, and yours truly, Greg Banks, in the studio. Give us a call. Dave Shannon will be joining us in moments at 814-619-4286 as Sports Talk continues after this. Need printing services done with quality, on time, and at a reasonable price? Then stop by Images Print Shop in downtown Huntington, where they can help you design and print brochures, business forms, business cards, newsletters, flyers, and so much more. Images Print Shop is your hometown print shop and web hosting service dedicated to excellent and quality service at affordable prices. See what Images Print Shop can do for you online at imagesprintshop.com or call us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 643-1796.
Kick off your appetite with great food from Original Italian Pizza in downtown Huntington, where Bearcat fans huddle up before and after the big game. OIP in downtown Huntington provides your taste buds with appetizers, dinners, pizzas, subs, and so much more. Stop by OIP in downtown Huntington for a sandwich, meal, and cold drinks 7 days a week, or call ahead for takeouts at 643-0665 or 643-0666. OIP in downtown Huntington with the best food and the lowest prices in town.
Hey, Frank, some of us are going out for lunch. Want to join? No thanks. I won't be able to make it for a while. My son's heading to a 4-year university this fall, and I'm watching every penny I can to help him with tuition.
Yeah, that can be so expensive. My daughter decided to go to Pennsylvania Highlands Community College. She'll earn her associate degree in 2 years before transferring to earn her bachelor's. I'll be able to save thousands by her attending Penn Highlands first.
Pennsylvania Highlands, really? My son is stuck on attending a 4-year university right away, far from home.
My daughter was the same until I explained to her that she'd end up with the same degree and far less debt. I don't want to see her starting out her adult life with a lot of debt. Penn Highlands just made the most sense. So, enjoy lunch.
Hey, wait for me.
I thought you couldn't afford to eat out.
That was before you mentioned Penn Highlands. How do I find out how to get my son enrolled?
I'll fill you in over lunch, but start by visiting Pennsylvania Highlands online at pennhighlands.edu.
Sports Talk on the Air Network.net. Greg Banks in the studio. And joining us for the first time tonight, Dave Shannon live in Altoona. Jimmy Ty live in Johnstown, and Jeff Speck. He's with us from Huntington, where the temperatures have just been glorious. Dave, I know you were on the road with the Erie Explosion over the weekend on Saturday. I listened to that game. What a splendid game it was. But, man, it was a rout, 61 to what? Trenton over Erie?
23.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
75, actually 75.
75. Well, you know,
even more embarrassing than what you're trying to make it.
Well, you know, I figure when you get to 70, and if it's close, well, you know, that's cool. But you know, that used to be Erie's thing back in the day. They used to kill guys like that. Let me just ask you real quick, since you're on the line, what's happening? Yeah. They've got a new quarterback, some youngsters there. I listened to your broadcast. Obviously, they've got some new linemen. And you'll be talking this at 8 o'clock, by the way, on the Erie Explosion Radio Network. But what are some of the problems Erie's having this year?
Well, I think one of the things is, unlike other professional sports where they can, you don't carry the same roster over year after year.
Right, okay.
And so you end up with a situation where you're going to have, I think we have a 7 returning starters from last year from a championship team. Add that together with the fact that we are in a completely different league, and the rules are different. And so, therefore, in the CIFL league we were in last year, running was a good idea because the linebackers were held in check 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage.
Right.
On this one, you have one of the 2 linebackers is permitted to approach the line of scrimmage. And it definitely makes for a different situation when it comes to rushing. Yeah. And most of the teams are using a fullback for primarily a blocker for the quarterback. But sometimes the fullback does carry the ball. They had, they being Trenton, had a carry for a touchdown by their fullback on Saturday night. Not to be expected, though. Whereas the running game could be an integral part of your game. In the CIFL rules, PIFL takes that away.
Yeah, that indoor football and arena football is fascinating. It's just like watching a pinball machine, man. Guys bouncing off the pads and sidelines and stuff. Jeff, have you or Jimmy ever been to one of those arena games or inside football games? Jeff first, and I know Jimmy's been there before. What about you, Jeff?
I have never made it to one. I watched it on TV a few times, but have never been to one in person. But it looks nuts to me.
Jimmy, we used to do them on TV. Remember back in the days? What was it? The J-Dogs or something like that we did? I can't remember. Was it Johnstown J-Dogs? Yeah.
Johnstown J-Dogs. They had like the dancers that are like down by where the Zamboni was. And it's in the middle of June in the Cameron County War Memorial. There's
oh my goodness.
There's no air conditioning.
There was no air conditioning there. I know. Okay,
yeah.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have brought that up because that was a bad season. That was hot in there, man. We were in the bowels down by the Zamboni machine directing and producing the game, and it was hot as hell down there. So I imagine, Dave, if you'd have been up in the booth for those games as opposed to the general games, you'd have cooked like a kibasi, man.
Nice weight loss program, huh?
No doubt. But anyhow,
it was like the Johnstown Renegades. You had the J-Dogs, the Renegades, and
the Generals,
Generals, and then they said, you know what? Forget about this indoor football stuff in Johnstown. It's not working.
Yeah. All right. So maybe the guys in the area have to get acclimated to the new game, Dave. I guess that's what it's going to have to be. But I wish them the best of luck. And if anybody wants to tune in tonight and listen to the talk show, I guess they can pick it up on our friend Sam Jordan's network, the Keystone Network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The Keystone Sports Network is, if you just want to go there directly, or go to erieexplosion.com and click on the Listen Live link.
And that'll be on tonight from 8 to 9 then?
8 to 9, yes.
8 to 9. Dave Shannon and Coach Sean Liotto of the Erie Explosion. They're coming up in about maybe 90 minutes or so, actually in about a half an hour. Hey, Dave, let me ask you this. Now, and I know we're not going to hammer the coach just yet. We can hold that for a second, but the Penguins kind of backed into this playoff yesterday.
Oh, I did.
Okay, after defeating Buffalo. Now, based on recent history, do you think the Pens can beat the Rangers and, win this series in how many games? Seriously, I mean, let's face it, they're on the road against these guys, I believe, on Thursday night. They'll square off again on Saturday, come back to Consol Energy on Sunday. How far do we see this thing going?
This could go as many as 5 games, at which point the ultimate insult and ultimate end to a very lackluster season would be to play Game 5 in Pittsburgh and lose to the Rangers there.
Okay.
Or, actually 6. Let me change that because they have to get to a 6th game.
Well, haven't the Rangers pretty much manhandle the Penguins all season? Everybody in that conference has, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. It has not been an easy go for it. I think they were most competitive against Montreal from time to time, but the Islanders, the Rangers, they gave them problems all season long. Ottawa ended up being a tough one. It was all season long. They never had much success. They were real good against the Western clubs, more so.
Was there any doubt against Buffalo going into that game? Seriously, because Buffalo had really everything to play for to lose that game. You know what I'm saying? They're looking to get at least, the first draft pick, from what I understand. So they didn't give the Penguins that game. But what's your assessment of that game against Buffalo yesterday?
Saturday, you mean?
Saturday,
Yeah. The biggest problem that points out, the way Saturday's game went, is you got goal scoring by Brendan Sutter.
Yeah.
And that means your stars and your star lines are not doing what they're supposed to do. I think that speaks a lot about that. I'm sure if you ask Buffalo that they went out there with every intention on winning the game. And, because no one wants to admit that they went out there and took a dive so they could get the first pick in the draft.
Right.
It's one of those kind of things you'll never know for sure. But I still say the fact that and Brendan Sutter, I love Brandon, is a great player.
He got knocked out of the game and came back and scored again. That's what's incredible.
Yeah, and, if there's anybody that deserves one of those letters on his uniform, it's him.
Yeah, and we talked about that last week during the show. Jimmy, did you watch some of the hockey over the weekend, and what was your assessment of the Penguins? What do you think? How far can they go in this series against the Rangers?
Watch the game. I think they'll beat the Rangers because it's payback from last year.
Yeah, okay.
Even though it's a different team, I think they'll take the series because of payback from last year. So I'm going to say I'm a believer of the Penguins right now, but they have to get scoring from Malkin and they have to get scoring from Crosby. It can't just be Sutter and Bo Bennett.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Even Downey's been scoring relatively easy as opposed to Malkin and Crosby.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's your assessment of this upcoming Rangers series? How do you see this thing playing out?
Well, I guess the positive I have to take with it, and I forget if it was Crosby or whoever stepped up and said this, and I have to kind of agree. Look, the Penguins have been in playoff mode for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So they have that intensity. Now do they have the manpower to help? Now, what they brought the 2 guys up from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, who were Harrington, and I can't remember the other one.
Right.
Brought those up, so they'll be playing with more than 5 defensemen now, so that may help. But it's going to be a tall order. But I'm not ready to give up on the Pens yet. I think right along with Jimmy, might be time for some payback.
Well, here's
again. The last thing, and I talked about this last week. If Marc-Andre Fleury gets hot, they have to play well around him. But I've seen him when he gets this way, and he is literally lights out. It's amazing what he can do.
Right.
So, if he comes out and he's having that kind of series, it's Katie bar the door.
So you think he'll up us a game like during the playoffs? Is that when he normally gets hot, Dave?
The year they won the Cup, he did.
Okay.
And we saw a stretch of that, I believe, in January.
Yeah.
January, February, where he got what I refer to as unconscious. where he makes some saves that you just don't believe that anyone could possibly make. And this is true, I think, of any goalie, and how a team gets to the Stanley Cup and wins it is if their goalie is extremely good during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
You look back, Jonathan Quick had a big series. That's why the Kings ended up with a big postseason, and that's why the Kings ended up with a cup. Jimmy Howard with the Chicago Blackhawks. You go around the league and you see the recent cup winners, and you see why those teams won the cup. And it was related to, Tim Thomas with the Bruins.
Henrik Lundqvist is pretty hot these days himself. Yeah. I mean, so Lundqvist is pretty hot, man. So, he's on a streak here.
Yeah. So it's not going to be easy. Boy, I'll tell you what, if they do get payback, now that would put a big plus statement on the season if they were able to do that. But
does it save Johnston?
Yeah,
well, here again, in relationship to Johnston and the assistants, I must add this, Dave. I just pulled a report off the internet. According to the CEO of the Penguins president, David Morehouse, he says, hey, listen, it's where we belong. In other words, it's where we want to be, and it's where we've been, and it's where we'll continue to be. Then he furthermore says, when he was asked whether or not there might be another round of sweeping changes in the offseason, he said, absolutely not. We never even had discussions about people's jobs. I don't make any speculation. Everybody from the coach down to the assistants will remain Penguins in the next season. Okay,
I'll tell you what this is
the guy that hired him.
Yeah. Well, what this is a statement about, Greg, is the fact that they're apparently, sadly, for us who are Penguins hockey fans, they want someone in control who's a pushover. Right. In other words, the front office makes a call to the player side because, quite frankly, your front office should not be that actively involved, only to the point where when you come to contract negotiations with a player, they have to be, and they have to be attentive to what the player development and coaching staff have to say about that. Apparently, they want to have the ability to make a phone call and say, we want you to do this. And I'll tell you what, when a franchise goes down that road, oh my goodness, is that disaster.
We've seen the Pirates go that way in the McClatchy days. I do believe, where he was making some moves basically as obviously as the owner, but you know what? It hurt the Pirates. That's why they haven't been anywhere for years, until the new regime. And even that, we, of course, all kind of besmirched the name of Neil Huntington for many years because we thought he wasn't doing anything in the minor leagues. So having said that, man, I don't know.
The turnaround point for me with the Pirates was when Huntington did go ahead and go after Pedro Alvarez.
Okay.
And, we know what he is now. Pedro is what he is. But on paper, what he did in college, what was available in that draft, he was the guy to take. And the Pirates stepped up and took who they should have taken in the first round for the first time in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, and these kinds of things don't happen. The way they happen immediately is when you have a financially well-off owner who is willing to spend whatever it takes, like, say, Mark Cuban, that would come in to own the team and spend whatever it takes, and you're immediately different, and you start to rebuild in the minor leagues. You buy, rent, whatever you want to call it, some players to make your team good right away and competitive. And while you have those guys there, you have the best player development and scouting people that go out and look at players. For example, they go out and they look at a pitcher with more than just a radar gun.
Yeah.
It is very disappointing. I've been at so many either college venues or independent minor league venues where absolutely nothing goes on except these guys sitting behind home plate with a radar gun. And I'm telling you, that does not give you the whole picture.
Yeah.
It's a part of it, but it can't be the whole picture on these guys.
Well, the Penguins organization, by the way, is still paying off Bosma and also still paying off Ray Shero. They're still owed like millions of dollars. So, I mean, there's not going to be any drastic changes. So anybody out there that might think that the Penguins are going to sort of like clean house. It ain't going to happen at this point. If you'd like to call us, 814-619-4286. The number again, 814-619-4286. We love to talk sports with you. It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. Dave Shannon live in Altoona. We've got Jimmy Ty in Johnstown. Jeff Speck, by the way, in Huntington. Hey, I don't know if you guys watched over the weekend the Masters. I tried to follow it closely because I wanted to see what Tiger was going to do. And I got to say, Jimmy, I was quite impressed with Jordan Spieth, who, by the way, was at Sunny Hannah, as you mentioned. I believe Dustin Johnson had been there. Jordan had been there just a couple years ago. Were you pretty impressed with this young man, the second youngest guy ever to win the Masters this weekend?
21 years old, and he wins the Masters. Wow.
Man. Is that crazy or what?
That's crazy, but the funny thing is he predicted it. He predicted he was going to win the Masters when he was 14 years old.
That's true. I did hear that. Yeah.
So, wow, wow.
This guy wins by an overwhelming 4 shots, 18 under. I want to ask Jeff and then Dave, you think he's going to continue to reign over the remainder of the year? The tournament play, Jeff first and then Dave.
Well, let's face it, he had an outstanding kind of day there and great tournament. But Greg, you hit the nail on the head in your opening statement about golf.
Mm-hmm.
You turned in to watch Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I did.
And that's why I tuned in, to see what Tiger Woods would do. Now, he didn't set anything on fire. What did he fire? 73 or something? Came in 16th or 17th.
Yeah, and he came
there.
5 under. He's 5 under.
And when you consider where Tiger Woods was to coming back to doing that, that's pretty impressive. But there's the key to golf. Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
People were tuning in to see what Tiger was doing, to see if he could come back. And I'd have to say, he would probably have to be pretty pleased that he did have a pretty good tournament all in all. But, this kid's pretty exciting to watch. And
he is.
Rory McIlroy, I think it might be for a good year. And what's the guy from Japan? I'm not even going to try to go there. But anyhow, people will be tuning in. It's still going to be the Tiger season. If he continues to play and can stay healthy, people are going to be tuning in to see what Tiger's doing.
Well, I really like to tune in now to watch these young guns. But you know what? I'm fascinated by seeing if Tiger can make a respectable, at least, return. Because his life has been so perilous. Although, on Thursday when they opened up, they have that little contest where they bring out their children. And it was so cool to see him spending time with his kids and all the other golfers spending time with their kids, which I think makes for a sort of like a warm and fuzzy situation. So women were kind of tuning in and saying that Jordan looks like Matthew McConaughey or whoever the hell he looks like. And so, hey, Dave, so the women are starting to tune in, not for Tiger, but for the warm and fuzziness of this new champion, Jordan Spieth.
I think I don't know if I didn't see Jordan's game, and I can't tell you much about it because
he was far ahead all weekend.
Ultimately, what this comes down to is course by course, event by event. Does that play out over the course of a season? I think last year, Rory McIlroy to me was the new Tiger Woods. I think he just dominated the PGA last year, and he looked to me to be the heir apparent to the Tiger Woods throne. And it is amazing that both by the fans and by the network covering, they come back from a commercial break, and it's Jim Nantz, Jordan Spieth having a great tournament, Masters, and Tiger Woods is 18.
Tiger Woods is hurt.
What about all these guys in between Spieth and Woods?
I felt bad for Phil Mickelson. I mean, Mickelson had a respectable game this weekend, and very seldom did they mention his name.
I know. It is really sad, but I think Jeff is right. And to be honest with you, I'm guilty of the what is Tiger doing, but I think I'm at my end point with that, and I'm just saying, okay, the guy's career, for the most part, he's going to win a tournament here or there, but that dominance that we saw back there in the 90s when he became, the ungodly player that he was, I don't think that's coming back.
Well, there were a couple of points in the game on Friday, I believe, or Saturday. His game looked a lot like mine, where he was shanking into the woods, and I would be like, I need a mulligan on that one. And he also dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Because he got hurt.
Yeah, well, that's...
and he hurt his hand.
That up, Jimmy.
Yeah. He hit a tree root.
Yeah.
He hit it. Now there's reports saying he doesn't know when he's going to come back and play golf.
Well, listen, if it weren't for the job Johnnies they have there, they'd probably caught him peeing in the woods, too. But, I mean, I'm serious. He's just like any other normal golfer, hey, Jeff, out of Standing Stone Golf Course, when you got to go, you got to go. I mean, beer, beer and walking.
Stone Creek, okay?
Yeah, you remember
that? My extended golfing, I was always the designated beer cart driver.
Yeah, and guess what? There was a guy named Ramo Siriano. He was the English teacher in Huntington. I was his ball shagger. I was the guy that would retrieve his balls, but I made $5 every night, so I had no problem. And I would love, matter of fact, one of the kids from, what was that group that was real popular recently from England?
And the One Direction.
Yeah, okay, One Direction. Well, one of those kids showed up, and he was carrying the golf bag for one of the...
Niles.
Niles carrying the golf bag for one of the golfers. Okay, so this lady... She comes out on the course. Now, it's not her child. Remember, this is a teeny bopper group. The mother comes out, and she wants to get pictures with this guy. Normally, the guy's going to satisfy her and give her one picture. But this woman wanted to do a whole photo album. She was jacking up the Masters all weekend. And so that's my only problem. Some people should not be allowed to attend this thing.
But the whole bottom line is, and Tiger became a disappointment once it wasn't easy for him. With the way that he had no control over that, and he knows better. He's been told it, I'm sure.
Several times. Your mic is live.
So I am very disappointed in that aspect of his game, too, because face it, we're all talking about, at some point we tune in to see what Tiger's doing, and that kind of makes you the ambassador for the sport. And when you conduct yourself that way, what the heck does that say about you?
Well, we all agree. Do we all agree that he's no longer the face of golf, though? I mean, or is he still the face of golf?
Yeah, no.
He is to the standpoint that he's a draw, I think, for audience.
Yeah.
But as far as the PGA and the competitive part of the PGA, no.
Yeah. Well, and when guys used to say to me, and I drop an F-bomb or an S-bomb or some kind of bomb, they'd be like, do you kiss your mother with that mouth? I don't kiss my mother on the mouth. I kiss her on her cheek. What kind of crazy do you think I am? Okay, so anyhow, I did watch a little golf, and I was kind of intrigued. I wanted to see if maybe some of Tiger's old girlfriends would show up, or whatever the case might have been. Anyhow, the best of luck to Jordan Spieth. How did they pronounce his name, Jimmy?
Jordan Spieth.
Spieth, okay. Best of luck to him. Hey, Dave, I don't know if you got to roll, man, because I know you have a show at 8 o'clock with Erie Explosion, and we'll tune into that on the Keystone Network, or Erie, we'll go into the Erie Explosion webpage. How's that sound?
Yeah, just click up in the right-hand corner there. There's a listen live for the games. It also works for the Coaches Show.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, well, I appreciate you joining us. Short-lived, but hey, you joined us nonetheless. You and I will be in touch, okay?
Yeah, we'll talk maybe after the Coaches Show, okay?
Okay, sounds good, man. Hey, Dave Shannon, thanks for joining us live from Altoona. Jimmy Ty, by the way, in Johnstown. Jeff Speck, he's live with us in Huntington. We are going to continue Monday Night Sports Talk coming up in just a moment. Stick around. If you're searching for a used vehicle, or perhaps a used boat for a leisurely trip on the lake, find them today online at penswoods.net. From things for sale or things to buy, the free classifieds at penswoods.net have it all. From houses for sale, apartments for rent, or even things to trade, penswoods.net is the region's largest site for free classifieds. Check it out today and make money or save money at penswoods.net.
The Burns Law Firm is an experienced law firm located at 104 South Center Street in Evansburg, just steps away from the Cambria County Courthouse. Attorney Tim Burns and his staff will provide you with professional expertise in DUI, family law, personal injury claims, plus other areas of law at reasonable rates and fees. Contact Attorney Tim Burns for a consultation by calling 814-471-1701 or online at www.attytimburns.com. Ted'sPainting.com for more information.
Restore the luster of your home or business now by calling Ted's Painting and Drywall at 814-641-0479. Ted's Painting and Drywall does quality exterior and interior painting, staining, faux finishing, trim work, and wall repair. Plus, Ted's Painting and Drywall can remove wallpaper and finish drywall for one room or the whole house. Ted's Painting and Drywall, a licensed contractor offering a 20% discount to seniors and 35% discount to churches. Book your work now at Ted's Painting and Drywall. Call 641-0479.
I'm coming home. What does sacrifice mean to you? Is it giving up your time and energy to keep America safe? Is it putting yourself in harm's way to protect our nation's way of life? No? Then maybe it's giving up that third latte to take care of the heroes that do.
The VFW makes it easy to help. Just call 1-855-9-HELP-VET. That's 855-9-HELP-VET.
The VFW. No one does more for veterans.
This message brought to you by the Huntington VFW, Post 1754 on Penn Street.
Hey, Frank, some of us are going out for lunch. Want to join?
No, thanks. I won't be able to make it for a while. My son's heading to a 4-year university this fall, and I'm watching every penny I can to help him with tuition.
Yeah, that can be so expensive. My daughter decided to go to Pennsylvania Highlands Community College. She'll earn her associate degree in 2 years before transferring to earn her bachelor's. I'll be able to save thousands by her attending Penn Highlands first.
Pennsylvania Highlands, really? My son is stuck on attending a 4-year university right away, far from home.
My daughter was the same until I explained to her that she'd end up with the same degree and far less debt. I don't want to see her starting out her adult life with a lot of debt. Penn Highlands just made the most sense. So, enjoy lunch.
Hey, wait for me.
I thought you couldn't afford to eat out.
That was before you mentioned Penn Highlands. How do I find out how to get my son enrolled?
I'll fill you in over lunch, but start by visiting Pennsylvania Highlands online at pennhighlands.edu.
It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the AirNetwork.net. Greg Bankson live in the studio. Well, at least I'm in the studio. I don't know how live I am. Jeff Speck is in Huntington. We've got Jimmy Ty, by the way, in Johnstown. Dave Shannon had to leave us a little early because he does the coaches show for the Erie Explosion. So check them out at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9 tonight at ErieExplosion.com. I think you'll be surprised of some of the interesting talk that they, of course, whatever. All right, Jimmy. So, as we were saying off air, you've been following the NBA. Now, yes. I haven't figured out who's going to be the NBA MVP this year. Is it going to be the little guy? Or is it going to be, what's the guy's name, Hardison? Or, who's the MVP this year? It's not LeBron, right?
Even though LeBron's right now on one of the hottest teams in the league with Cleveland, I'm going to say it's going to be Steph Curry. He put that team on his back the whole way. And, 6'3" point guard, 6'4" point guard doing everything he's doing.
Yeah,
it's going to be Steph Curry with the Golden State Warriors.
What about Harden? What about James Harden?
I don't think James Harden, because James Harden has help around him with the players he has around, like with Patrick Beverly, and even though Dwight Howard's been out, yeah. Yeah, but it's going to be they're going to give the MVP to the guy on the best team.
Yeah.
And right now the best team is Golden State.
Hey, Jeff, let's talk guy to guy, okay? We're sports aficionados. We love sports. We're not experts. We're like everybody else. We sit around. We talk about sports around the water cooler. Some guys go to the bar. And then there's always that guy that knows everything, and you can't get him to shut up. But one thing I found around this region is people don't usually talk about the NBA a whole lot until we get near the finals. Are you one of those guys like me where I don't really watch this thing?
I cannot stand the NBA. In fact, I used to have a joke if someone were paying for my ticket to an NBA doing the driving, and that situation came up with my brother about 3 years ago to Philadelphia, and I said, you couldn't pay me to go watch an NBA game. I hate the sport. I'll tune in when the final gets underway, but the NBA, it just.
But your brother Philip, he loves the NBA, or does he follow it that closely?
Yeah, and my sons. I mean, they can name you the rosters of every team in the NBA and who's this and who's that, and I just sit there like like I'm kind of a Nimrod. Because I just it doesn't excite me one bit. I would sooner go watch sooner go watch a high school basketball game than go watch the NBA.
And I would rather watch like college that we just watched recently in the finals that were, of course, the NCAA Final Four. But, Jimmy, having said that, update us, educate us. Who are the leaders in the NBA right now, team-wise? I assume Cleveland's doing okay?
Cleveland is first. Let's go with the Eastern Conference. You have Atlanta with 60 wins, 20 losses. They're going to be the number 1 seed.
Okay.
The Cleveland Cavaliers with a 51-29 win-loss record. They're the number 2 seed. The Toronto Raptors are the number 3 seed with 48 wins.
Hold it right there. Toronto has a team?
Yes, Toronto Raptors.
I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm only kidding because Chris Bosh came from there, right? He was their superstar. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes. Then you have Chicago in the 4th seed, the Washington Wizards, number 5, Milwaukee Bucks in the 6th seed, Boston in the 7th seed, and the Brooklyn Nets in the 8th seed right now going into the East.
So they'll take 8 people in each conference to go into this thing?
Yep.
Oh, my God. Okay, let me ask you this. How bad are the 76ers this year? I mean, they're going to win this lottery? Is that how bad they are?
Let's just say Philadelphia has only 18 wins and 62 losses.
Okay, and to get us really updated on this thing, Phil Jackson, he comes from the West Coast to save the New York Knicks. Did he save them this year? What happened?
No, he did not save them. He has the Knicks only have 16 wins, so I don't think you can save them. But they're going to get a good draft pick, and they're just going to build from the draft, and you'll see New York back on top in the next 3-4 years.
Okay, give me somebody on the West Coast then who looks like they might be able to challenge maybe Atlanta or maybe Cleveland. I mean, who's going to be in the finals this year in the NBA?
Right now, I see the LA Clippers right now, the Los Angeles Clippers. I know with the Donald Sterling thing last year, that's all done and over with. It's a new regime. I see the LA Clippers, but I also see a team like San Antonio. They're a veteran team. They won it all last year. They have 55 wins, 26 losses. They're in the 2nd seed right now in the West. So I would say San Antonio is going to be a team not to take lightly in the playoffs.
And so Popovich he's probably sitting his guys out right now, isn't he? He's probably just waiting for the playoffs, like he's probably giving Tim Duncan some time off. And I'd pay these astronomical fees, Jeff, to get these tickets and go, let's say, to watch Cleveland and San Antonio play, only to find out I don't even know who these guys are playing on San Antonio because the starters didn't start.
Yeah, that would.
How fair is that?
That would tend to upset me just a little bit because I do know that much. It ain't cheap.
Yeah, and would you think that the NBA, Jimmy, could sanction something and say, look, you got to at least play 3 of your starters or something, because these people are paying all this money to come see your superstars?
No, I don't think they should sanction that. If a player if they need a rest, Tim Duncan is 38 years old. If he needs a rest to go into that playoff stretch, or Tony Parker, he's 32 years old. If they need a rest, I say give them a rest because they're going to be playing basketball all the way into June. And they've been playing basketball since October, so if they need a rest towards the end of the season, that's great. Let them rest up for the playoffs and just go from there.
Well, hey, just think, if 2 teams decide to sit their starters, and I pay this ticket and go to Cleveland, and I'm paying $300 or whatever it is to go watch this game, and I get like these guys I don't even know, I'd like my money back or at least a damn discount. You know what I mean?
I
don't think it would be fair.
No, it wouldn't be fair, but there's other players that could be stars on each team. You have Kawhi Leonard. Okay. He's an up-and-coming star for San Antonio. Nobody heard of him, but he was the Finals MVP last year.
Right, okay.
I would have sanctioned it, but they'd be sitting in the concourse somewhere signing autographs.
Yeah, something. At least put them out there, man, so they could at least touch and feel the people. That's why I don't like the NBA, because you can't get close to these guys at all.
And now I'm up to date, and thanks to Jimmy, an expert, and I didn't have to watch one dang play all season.
There you go. and you know what? Hey, Jeff, we can go directly to the finals.
I'm good.
Yeah, we'll know who's doing what. Yeah. Hey, well, let me ask you this. It's fishing season this weekend. I believe it is, Jeff. I know you guys started Little League Saturday. Let me just ask you this question. How many teams are in this league now? I think when I played, back in the 60s. Of course, 66 was, I believe, the year that we won the state championship, and you're going to, of course, make a big deal out of that next season, or 65, whatever the year was.
66.
I think we only had maybe 7 or 8 teams back then. Do they have more teams now, or are they pretty much the same?
And back then, let's also remember, we were playing 9 through 12-year-olds all played in the same league.
That's right.
Now we have the minor league division. We call it the instructional league, which is our 7 and 8-year-olds. There are 6 teams in it, and then we have our 9-10 division, which they do all the pitching and everything. The players do all that, where they don't do that at the instructional level the whole games.
Okay.
But we have 6 teams in that division and 4 teams in the older division. Now that'll adjust some next year, because this year we were hit with a new age determination factor from Little League International, which kind of skewed some people to different places. So I could see us probably adding another team or 2 back in the upper division next year. So we've got a total of 16 teams out there at the moment playing baseball.
So you're telling me you actually have a category or division now just for 11 and 12-year-olds?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. See,
3 divisions now.
Yeah, back then,
you were 9 years old, scared out of your shorts, out there with a 12-year-old firing balls in it.
And guess what? I was all of 3 feet tall, and they'd say, "Crouch down, Poncho, crouch down." I got walked.
All strike zone.
Yep. Hey, listen, I got walked all the time. I could actually, I could probably fit 5 of me into my baseball pants back then, man. I was dragging. I looked like one of the little old rascals. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Hey, it was a lot of fun. Let's do this again next Monday, okay?
Definitely.
All right. Monday Night Sports Talk. Thank you, Jimmy Ty in Johnstown, Jeff Speck in Huntington, Dave Shannon from Altoona, who had to leave us early. We'll do this again. By the way, you can always listen on demand on our website at www.theairnetwork.net. Tune in on Monday nights. Get it live. You can always call us up at 814-619-4286 from 7 to 8 p.m. on Mondays. Until next week, have a great one, and so long, everybody.